It is showtime. And of course, now I just hear the elevator ding. So, everyone to the Toronto PerlMongers talks. Ooh. Thank you again to Oanda for hosting us. Obligatory plug. So what we're going to do is these are meant to be 5-minute talks. We're not going to time them. Don't worry about being under or over unless you're going to talk for an hour, in which case we might have to cut you off. I'll get it started, and then I'm going to randomly pluck speakers out of the audience and torment them and make them go. I'm thinking of one person in particular who's making faces right now. All right. So, first talk. I like raisins.
And turtles. Yeah, turtles.
I know it's very confusing. So I've written a couple of RESTful APIs at this point in my career. Sorry. Mostly, they actually tend to be a very interesting little thing. You start off with a very small idea, and then it blows up into this gigantic monster. I've written most of them in Dancer, which, for any who don't know, Dancer is it's a web application framework, kind of minimalist. It's a domain-specific language, a DSL. It was originally created and inspired by Ruby's Sinatra. So Dancer's DSL is actually pretty good for APIs. You do end up adding other things. I found I have to tweak and massage it a bit and bolt on some stuff, usually write some plugins. So is there a better way? So I introduced Raisin. Raisin is kind of like a Dancer API, a DSL for writing RESTful APIs or RESTful-like APIs. Build only what you need and go from there. So the basis of a RESTful API is a resource. The URL structure tells you what you're supposed to be interacting with. So you might have users, events, actions, what have you, and you call the URL, and the HTTP method is what determines what you are doing. If you use get, you are retrieving a resource. If you use put, you are creating a new resource, and post, you are modifying a resource. No one follows this pattern. Everyone just uses post and ignores put. So the basis of Raisin is you have this little DSL where you define a resource and you name it, and you put in a subroutine. And all the stuff that you put inside this sub defines all of the routes and retrieval methods and getters, setters, and so on for that resource. So when you declare resource user, you are declaring a route, basically /user. Now that you have that, you can start defining what it does. So here you can see I created a very simple hash with users. Ada Lovelace and Grace Hopper came to mind, some excellent minds in CS you should go look up. By default, it serializes in YAML, so what I'm doing here is I'm changing the default serialization to JSON. So within my resource subroutine, I can do this little DSL where I can give a description. So when you do desc and a string, what it is doing is you're kind of giving a comment for what the next route that you are defining is. It automatically associates it with the next route you're doing. And I'll mention something later as to why desc matters instead of just a comment. So in this case, I'm defining a get method. So in this case, I'm getting all users. So here I'm just grabbing the users. And the last statement out of a sub is returned. So this will automatically be serialized into JSON and returned. So if I want to create a user, I can do post user /name. In this case, I'm going to create Carol Shaw, who was a programmer for the Atari 2600 system and created River Raid, which was an awesome game that I loved as a child. So within that resource user sub, you do, again, desc to describe it. Here, you can add a parameters clause, which tells you what query parameters are required or optional. If it's optional, you just change this keyword to optional. You can repeat the keys multiple times. In this case, the name of the parameter will be name. I'm using type tiny to do some simple validation, so it has validation built into it. So it will return an error message if you give it bad data. You can describe it. You can also have a regular expression to validate or a subroutine if you need it. So in this case, all of the parameters come in via shift, and parameters is also associated with the following root definition. So description and parameters are kind of, because it's a nice little DSL, you don't actually worry about it. If you declare it in order, it gets all munged together. So in this case, I'm going to return the ID of the details of that particular, or create the new user, and the rather ingenious method of creating a new key. We won't talk about that. And I'm returning a simple success message. Here's some other things for getting a specific user. You usually pass an ID. So for that, you do a similar thing. You create a description. Parameter, you want an ID, but instead of using that as a query parameter, question mark, something equals something, you can declare a root param. So this ID is now stating you are creating a root /user/ID, and ID is the specific ID of the resource you're getting. So in this case, I'm getting a particular, I can use it to get a particular user or to delete a particular user. So what it's got JSON, YAML, and text serialization built in. You can get logging instantly with log dispatch. It has an extensible plugin system. All of the serialization, loggers, and such are all defined using the plugin system, so you have examples you can work off of. You can just do import plugin Swagger, and that nice little description field that you saw there earlier, it'll generate an API spec and a path for the whole API in the Swagger specification, which is a very nifty little thing. It just instantly have a way for people, you change the API, you are also describing the API. What it hasn't got is any configuration mechanism. The code is the config. You want to change the default serialization format, you have to do it in the code. There is no config system. That's a bit limiting. You can probably figure out something, but you got to roll it yourself. It's a very minimalist system. There are no third-party plugins. It's very young, but it is an interesting little project. Thank you very much. And now, because everyone in the room is terrified, I'm going to call them. I'm going to actually pass it over to Olaf Alders.
Just before you do that, what's the best place to look for documentation of this?
Raisin?
Yes.
CPAN.
Dave?
Yeah.
Can you invite Matt to this Hangout? I said he's got the public URL, but he can't ask questions or participate from that one. So, and I didn't have permissions to share it with him.
Ding.
Cool.
So you good to go, Olaf, or?
We will find out shortly. Let me know when you can see my screen.
I can just see you.
Terrible. How about now?
Yep.
Seriously?
Maybe I should stop the screen share.
Oh yeah, stop your screen share. Okay.
No, you screen share.
Okay, I'll start my screen share up again. Anything?
I see things. Maybe it says you're doing a screen share, but I don't see it.
Oh, come on.
Oh.
How is it working now?
Nope.
I mean, to me, it looks perfect.
I'm very tempted to eject you now.
I'm gonna stop screen sharing. Oh. Did you make me the presenter? Or is that?
I made you the presenter. Now I've stopped your presenting.
And now I'm screen sharing again. Nothing?
Nothing.
I'm gonna try something else.
You owe me a talk next month.
Yeah. Does that not work?
I'm afraid not.
All right, I'm gonna rejoin the Hangouts. Maybe you could just move on to someone else in the meantime.
Okay.
Let's see if I can.
We'll do that. Well, first I'll ask for volunteers. Does anyone want to go? My goodness. All right. Karen Clark, come on down.
Did you restart the screen sharing?
I do. Do. Start screen share. I said start screen share. Start screen share. Oh, hola.
Restart.
Hey, Dave.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, Matt could actually see it.
Can see what?
Like he was able to see my screen.
You're presenting to everyone. Do you see my screen now?
Oh, look, there's somebody. Look, they're sitting down.
I see Matt, and I see your icon.
Oh, hey, Matt.
Okay, is it working now?
No.
Matt, can you see my screen? All right.
Thanks, Google. Does Matt see it?
No, he just sees the icon. All right, we'll just move on then.
Okay. Stop presenting. Screen share. Why is my screen share not working? Sent to everyone.
Oh wait, Matt can see it now.
See what?
But you turn it off. He was able to see my screen share. If you turn the chat on, you can see.
I can see him.
Yeah, I was thinking you should if you turn the chat panel on, that way people can ask questions and stuff.
I'm looking at the chat panel.
Oh, okay.
You lost it. Lol. Okay, this might be an aborted screen share because I can't get it to go again.
Okay, that's fine. Let's just move on.
Well, let me know if it starts actually showing at some point.
Okay.
There, everyone. Much less pressure. You don't have to present to the world.
You have to present to the world without the benefit of your slides.
Yes. All right. So, Karen Clark.
Hi, my name's Karen. Hey, I wasn't there yet. How do I go backwards? There we go.
Okay.
I'm going to talk a bit about pseudo files and how you stop files and getting looking like that. Where, Bob, might be a valid user, but, Dave left the company 2 years ago, Stacy moved to a different team, so shouldn't need permissions anymore, and things like that. Or, they look like that, where you need a new system right now, and everyone needs access to it right now, and add, so just add everyone right now, and everyone needs access to the straight default thing, and add, so just add everyone. And the answer you might think is, great default thing, and add And some of them can do that. But many of the ones that are less expensive or open source or you develop yourself, you don't really want to trust to manage your sudoers file because they'll break it and then you can't go in and fix it. So my answer was a generated file. So you put a file next to your sudoers file, you call it .generated or something like that, and you let your CM manage that. You can do all kinds of things with it, and then you write a script that will verify it for you and copy over when you're satisfied, and a cron job that will different files. So to let you know when somebody added their own name in, or added their friend's name in to edit the files for you or something like that. And that was not 5 minutes, but that's not 5 minutes.
Thank you very much.
See anything yet, Olaf?
No.
No.
You restart. You may want to restart.
The problem is that it's broadcasting.
So
Do you want me to try and restart the whole thing?
Yeah. Just invite us.
Is that Matt? Okay, echoing is bad. You know what, I'm going to shut this down, Olaf. Stopping now.